It was meant to be just another quiet family dinner. Candles flickered, dishes steamed, and faint laughter floated around the table. Yet beneath that cozy glow, tension brewed like something unseen and cold. My father sat at the head, staring at me as though I'd spoiled the meal. My mother stirred her soup endlessly, avoiding my eyes. My sister, as always, scrolled through her phone, smirking every now and then. Then it happened. "You're the biggest disgrace this family's ever had," my father said evenly, setting down his fork. The words sliced through me, sharp, glass-like. Mom didn't stop him. She only sighed, her voice quiet but heavy. "We tried to raise you right, but look at you now, no stable job, no family, just disappointment." The air grew thick. Even my sister chuckled. "He's not even trying to fix his life," she said. "You should have known better than to expect anything from him." I sat there in silence, feeling every word crush me a little more. I wanted to fight back, to shout that I was trying, that chasing meaning wasn't the same as failing. But I knew better. You can't convince people who've already decided what you are. So I smiled faintly and said, "You're right. Maybe I am a disgrace. But I'm not done yet." Dad scoffed. "Done with what?" "Dreaming." I stood, folded my napkin, and answered quietly, "Done letting you define me." Then I walked away from the table. That night, I packed my bags and left for good. No shouting. No tears. Just a quiet determination. They thought their words had broken me. But what they didn't realize was they'd just lit the spark that would change everything. Because I wasn't a disgrace. I was unfinished. And soon, they'd see what that meant. When I left home, I had nothing but a duffel bag, an old laptop, and a heart burning with anger. I walked for hours before finding a cheap motel on the edge of town. The room smelled of dust and damp wood, but it was mine, silent, small, and honest. I didn't sleep that night. Their words, disgrace, failure, embarrassment, kept replaying in my head. Each one hurt, but beneath the pain was something stronger, determination. I opened my laptop and pulled up an old project I'd once abandoned, an app idea I had pitched to my dad years ago. He'd laughed, calling it childish. The concept was simple, a platform connecting freelancers with small businesses needing short-term help. A bridge for people like me, trying, but never taken seriously. I stayed up all night sketching designs, rewriting code, mapping features. I had little money, but I had time, drive, and silence, the best kind of fuel. Days turned into weeks. I took whatever work I could find, delivering food, fixing phones, cleaning offices, anything to keep me going. Every spare minute went into that app. 3 months later, LinkUp was ready for a soft launch. I posted it online, expecting maybe a few downloads. Within 2 days, over 2,000 people had signed up. Small businesses needed help. Freelancers needed work. And somehow, I'd built something that mattered. I kept improving it, adding features, fixing bugs, working through nights that blurred into mornings. Then came an email from a small investor who had seen my post and wanted to meet. I expected rejection, maybe a pity offer. Instead, he said, "You've built something real. I want to help scale it." That meeting changed everything. Within 6 months, LinkUp had funding, an office, and a small team of 5. Growth was messy, fast, but every mistake became a lesson. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was creating. A year later, we hit 1 million users. News outlets called it the next big freelancing revolution. I tried not to think about my family, but each milestone softened their voices in my head. Then one evening, as I was wrapping up a meeting, my assistant said, "There's a woman here to see you. Says she's your mother." My chest tightened. I walked out to the lobby. There she was, older, tired, uncertain. Her eyes darted around the sleek office, pausing on the framed articles on the wall. "I didn't know where else to go," she said softly. "Your father's been unwell. Your sister too. Things haven't been easy." I stayed quiet. She hesitated. "We saw you on the news last week, the article about your app. Your dad didn't say much, but I could tell he was proud. He's just not good at showing it." I nodded. "That sounds about right." Tears welled in her eyes. We were wrong, Alex. About everything. You didn't disgrace us. We disgraced ourselves. Her words didn't bring satisfaction, only peace. I brought her inside, made her tea, and listened as she spoke about home, about how empty dinners had felt since I left. Before she left, she whispered, "Your father wants to see you. He's ashamed, but he wants to." That night, I sat in my office, staring at the city lights I'd once dreamed of reaching. I thought of every insult, every night I almost gave up, and how those moments had become the foundation for everything I'd built. The next morning, I drove home for the first time in 2 years. My father opened the door, thinner now, softer around the eyes. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then he finally said, "You proved me wrong." I smiled gently. "I didn't do it to prove you wrong, Dad. I did it to prove myself right." He nodded, and for the first time in my life, he hugged me. That single moment, quiet, human, real, was worth more than every insult, every sleepless night. Because sometimes, the best revenge isn't fighting back. It's building a life so full, so undeniable, that even those who doubted you must bow their heads and whisper, "We were wrong." When I walked out that night, I promised myself never to let their words define me again. I worked 2 jobs, mornings in a cafe, nights designing websites for small businesses. I saved every penny, rented a small studio, and filled it with books, plants, and quiet. For the first time in years, peace didn't feel like a stranger. Months later, one of my web designs went viral. A startup CEO reached out, offering me a full-time job with a salary my father once said I'd never deserve. I accepted, not for revenge, but for freedom. When I bought my first car, Mom called. Her tone was softer now. She said they'd seen my success online and wanted to catch up. I hesitated, but I went. Not as the broken child they remembered, but as someone who rebuilt himself from nothing. As I stepped into that same dining room where they'd once humiliated me, I smiled. This time, I brought dessert and dignity. Because sometimes, walking away is where everything good begins. And if anyone has ever made you feel small when they should have lifted you higher, remember, your worth isn't theirs to define. Build quietly. Succeed loudly. And let peace be your sweetest revenge.